All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Manifest. Let me first welcome you all to the official launch of my relationship podcast. And before I even get started, let me ask that you all like, share, subscribe to the channel as we continue to build moving forward. Again, to many of you who may or may not know or have heard of me, yes, I am Dr. Manifest, best-selling author of the book Comprehensive Capricorn. Now, that said, just to give you a little background on educationally who I am, I have a couple degrees. I have a graduate degree, master's in human resources management. I have a bachelor's business administration. I have two honorary PhDs, one in astrology and one in counseling. I have always been enamored with human behavior and what makes us do what we do. And although many may say that astrology is a pseudoscience, I don't agree. And I have proof to the contrary that it's not a pseudoscience. It is a behavioral science if you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing. Now, that said, I have over 350,000 fans and followers all across the world. I get over 1 million impressions each month. So that would render me pretty popular. I try not to get into those terms because my thing is, to me, I'm an oxymoron. I'm a virtually known unknown type of person, right? Because it would appear that I'm very popular across the spectrum in the grand scheme of things. However, I'm not really known like a lot of those so-called relationship experts and people who got million and 2 million, 3 million followers and views, all this kind of stuff. And that's fine. My thing is, as long as I'm able to take care of myself, I march to the beat of my own drum. I follow my own rules. I govern my own life. And my family's taken care of. My elderly mother is taken care of. She's well. I don't care about any of that other stuff or perception of what people think I am or the popularity or lack thereof. So, and I've always been intrigued with human behavior. The behavioral science is just so many components to it, right? I mean, if one person knew all the answers, I mean, obviously there would be no need for counselors. There'd be no need for psychologists, psychiatrists. The list goes on. It's such a broad thing. Human behavior. Mental health. It all ties in, right? It all ties in. I mean, we can talk genetics. We can talk, physiological differences. It just goes. There's just so many components to human behavior or psychology or the study of it, right? So anyway, just to give you all a brief background on who I am, I'm not just some guy just showed up, with the podcast. I've always been the type to try to use my experience, good, bad, or indifferent, to somehow in some way help or touch others, right? So, and that includes my pain. People seem to think that when you have a level of success that you don't have any worries. Well, that's not true. I would submit to you all, there are a lot of lonely millionaires, a lot of lonely multimillionaires, a lot of lonely billionaires. Why do you think you read these stories of these billionaires doing crazy things? Because money is, they have money now, so now they're trying to find a passion. Right? I mean, because money is not the end all be all. I mean, of course, if you don't have it, you would say, well, yeah, that's easy for you to say. No, it's not. You're saying what you're saying because you're in the position that you're in, right? But you'll see that if you're blessed to be able to make a significant amount of money, you will see that once money is no longer your problem, then your issues do not go away, right? Like you can't love, money can't give you love, money can't show you love, money can't hug you, money can't make you feel valued, money can't make you feel loved, right? I can go on and on and on, right? So it's you got to put it and keep it in perspective with the whole money thing and the whole wealth and being rich and being a millionaire and all that. Trust me, and I'm telling you firsthand from my point of view, having a lot of money does not equate to happiness. It does not equate to being fulfilled. It does not equate to being and feeling valued, right? So anyway, I try to use all of my personal experience and my pain to help in some way others, right? So I posed the question on my actually a couple of different of my platforms, and I said, basically, I wanted to get some input from my supporters, because I spoke about me giving generously from my heart. I've always been a generous person, always been very kind, and wanting to look out for others. I've helped so many others, and to this day, and still help so many people, and want nothing in return, ask for nothing. Even when people try to offer me money, or offer me some type of repayment or whatever, and I just deny it. That's just how I've always been, and I really think that's one of the main reasons why I'm blessed now in my life and in my professional life. Because I've always given freely. Like, right, the Bible says that the God loves a cheerful giver. Well, I've always given generously, cheerfully, and freely, right? So that hasn't been a problem. So the question went on to say that I said that everyone doesn't have the same heart as me, and so as such, throughout my life, I've had many disappointments. I've had many heartbreaks. Right? I've had many. I give so much. You give, but virtually you get nothing in return, or not even close to what you give back. And I had to clarify. And I said, when I speak giving, I'm not speaking of material things, okay, per se. Now I have given a lot of material things throughout my life. That's no question. But with the giving I'm talking about is the things that you cannot see. Okay, like the time, attention, giving someone consideration, lifting people up, inspiring people, encouraging people, building up, always being available, right? I mean, thinking of others first. All those type of things. You can't put a price tag on those things, nor can you quantify those things. So that, ladies and gentlemen, that was the question, I posed on my community. Right, and I said that sometimes it makes you feel. One of my supporters used the word depleted, and I told her, I can't remember her name, but shout out to her, and thank you for that. That was like the perfect word and the perfect summation and description of what it does to you when you're an empath, and I'm definitely an empath. You give freely. You have a big heart. Right, and please, and don't get it misconstrued or get it twisted. I'm not anyone's fool. Okay, as we say in Capricorn language, my cutoff game is fierce, but you get to a point where it's like you get tired of that even. You get tired of having to separate yourself from someone that means you no good. You get tired of separating yourself from someone who refuses to give you the things that you need, that knows how to cultivate your feelings, knows how to cultivate and bring out, the best in you, or knows how to speak your love language, right? And we can go, on and on, right? So that, ladies and gentlemen, and I just, one thing about me having the platform is that I can make a post, and thousands upon thousands of people will see it, will respond, whatever case may be, and that is so in itself therapeutic, right? So that was what culminated me to launch the actual podcast for relationships, because I'm already working on a book that's more than halfway done about relationships, and that's going to be a big one. I've been probably writing that book for the past probably 5 years, right, and promoting it and tell people that it's coming, it's coming. Well, from me posting that is what inspired me to go. I said, you know what, because I can speak a lot faster than I can write, and in this day and age with people just kind of clicking on and streaming and things of that nature, I said, you know what, the book is coming. I said, but you know what, let me talk to my supporters. Let me talk to the people worldwide, right? Because relationships, one thing about relationships is it doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, what your background is, what your religion is, right? As human beings, and that's what we all are worldwide, regardless of any of those things. As human beings, we all go through things. We all go through bad relationships, bad breakups, being cheated on, right? Being beat on, unfortunately, domestic violence, those things transcend race, they transcend region, they transcend background, they transcend, your zodiac sign, right? Like, we can go on and on and on. Even having a working knowledge of behavior like I do, and how it works, and all the different variables that go into how and why we do the things we do. Even with that said, I don't have all the answers. I still fall short when it comes to choosing the right person, or giving the wrong person the time of day, so to speak, or having all this knowledge, right? Because my position has always been this: I don't give anyone advice. Okay, Dr. Manifest, I might be called a relationship expert, relationship guru, whatever case may be. All those cool little titles. Cool. That's fine. But I don't give anyone advice. You know what I do? What I do is I offer my input, my insight, and I ask questions, right? And I give objective insight and I ask you questions. So essentially, I make you answer your own questions, because a lot of times, let's be honest, we all know what we need to do. We all know what we want to do, but we just want to hear it from someone else, right? Let's be honest, right? So I'm not in the business of giving anyone advice. Now, my credentials speak for itself. Again, I'm very educated, right? But I don't wear that on my sleeve or my chest as I'm, some super whatever. I'm just a man who's trying to help and inspire and encourage others, right? And a lot of it's based on what I've been through. So at the end of the day, you can have all these fancy titles, you can have all these great degrees and, this and that, whatever the case may be. But I really, truly hold firm to the fact that, experience is always going to be the best teacher, right? So, I see people all the time, oh, how can someone who's been through a couple divorces give anyone advice, whatever. Again, and I say to that is, listen, I would be more prone to listen to someone who's been through it, right, personally, than someone who's read about it in a book or who has a degree saying that they know about it. That's just me. Okay, but I think sometimes, we as human beings, we tend to try to dismiss someone when they say something that we don't necessarily agree with, and when they say something we don't like. And so that's our way of basically dismissing them or dismissing, their opinion. And that should not be, because everyone has an opinion. And if you've lived on this earth long enough, especially as an adult in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you've experienced enough to be able to speak on some things. Okay, I'm not going to just dismiss you because you don't have a degree. You can have a freaking high school diploma, as far as I'm concerned, but if you speak with some degree of wisdom and you know what you're talking about, I'm going to listen to what you have to say. And that's just how I am. So, this podcast, again, I think this is, this is what inspired me to actually launch it. And thank all my Capricorn followers and supporters for chiming in. But this is what drew me to the podcast. I can speak much faster than I can write. The relationship book I've been working on, it's more than halfway done. I got some marketing things in place for it, so I'm going to market it a lot differently than the comprehensive Capricorn book. But even what I did with that did well on its own. It was #1 on Amazon for like 14 weeks. And again, thank all my Capricorn and non-Capricorn supporters for helping me with that, because I basically started a virtual grassroots movement with that. So when I dropped the book, I mean, it blew up. So next up for me is I'm going for #1 on the New York Times bestseller, right? So yeah, I've got a little bit more money now and everything like that. So I'm going to market the relationship book a lot differently than I did Comprehensive Capricorn. So, because I want it to be successful, I want as much people worldwide to be able to read it as possible, whether it's in paperback, audio, whatever the case may be. So this podcast, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's I probably should have started a long time ago. But I guess it just wasn't time for whatever reason. But, here we are, right? So this is episode 1, I guess, of the relationship podcast with Dr. Manifest, right? So real quick, and I kind of wanted to talk about I just wanted to give you a nice backdrop on, who I am and what I'm about and everything like that. I think we have that established. So I want to talk about, basically the question I pose, when you're an empath, right? Or when you're used to giving so much of yourself, it's like you have this expectation, right? That you will never get half of what you kind of give out, right? So with that being said, it's like you're vulnerable. And I said that in the post, it makes you vulnerable because, I mean, you just want to make the person comfortable. You want to make them happy, right? That's almost your sole goal and your sole intent. And they so don't know how to receive it or how to reciprocate, what you need, because basically, people like myself, we do what we do because we want to feel valued. We want to feel appreciated, right? We want to know that we're making a difference, a positive difference in your life, or we're making a difference to where, you're finding some happiness with our behavior, with our activities, right? So that's what inspires us. That's what inspires our behavior. We want you, the person that's on the receiving end of that, to be happy and to let us know that you're happy. Words of affirmation, right? For many of you who are familiar or who may not be familiar with the 5 love language, that is my number 1 love language. Words of affirmation. I have to know that all of what I do is appreciated. My behavior is appreciated. My showing of love, my making myself available to you all the time is appreciated, and not just appreciated in a vain kind of way, but appreciated from the standpoint that I'm doing what I'm doing to make sure that you're happy, right? I mean, there aren't too many people I've run into, I've virtually none like myself. And so with that said, it leaves you open and vulnerable to being disappointed, to being hurt, right? To having your feelings just constantly trampled on. The more you do, it seems like, if you're giving it to the wrong people, I mean, it doesn't even matter. You can listen. What I'm saying right now, we can have those are great qualities to have. Don't get it twisted. And as try as I might, I can't turn that off, right? Like, yeah, I can cut myself off. I can cut someone off. Like I said, my cutoff game is fierce, right? But it's not about that. I get tired of having to even to do that. I get tired of being in a position. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, what more can I do? I feel like I have that Tyrese moment, and he's like, what more do you want from me? I mean, that's kind of how I feel. It's like, I mean, good, you give and you give and you give and you give your freaking heart out of your body, and it's like it's never enough, right? I mean, it's like, I mean, who can? I don't understand. Like, how can you not genuinely appreciate someone like that and want to do whatever you have to do to show and let that person know that all of their efforts are appreciated, right? That's it. Like, we all know what bad relationships look and feel like, right? We all know what good ones look like before it turns bad, right? And then in all fairness, for those of you who are in quote unquote good relationships now, you know what that looks and feels like. But even with that said, no relationship is without its challenges. Okay, I don't care if you've been with someone for 20 days or 20 years. Okay, I know for a fact, and I know that there's situations where people have been together for a long time and still virtually don't even know each other. Okay, so what that tells me is that you're getting to know someone is not based on time. It's not. Getting to know someone is not a time-based thing. It's just like a lot of the qualities and traits that we were born with. We were born with that, right? And then, of course, some qualities and traits we learn. That all falls under human behavior. That's why it's so vast. That's why it's so complex, because there's so many variables to why we do what we do. And that's my point, right? So getting to know someone, you can say you can wait for 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months. That doesn't mean you've gotten to know them. Getting to know someone is getting to know them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what drives them internally. Right? That's getting to know someone. You can be with someone for 20 years and don't know a thing about them. That's just the harsh reality. And what I mean by that, when I say getting to know them emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, is how they think. Right? What are their ideologies? What's their perception of love? What's their perception of relationships? What's their perception of fidelity? And that might sound like a odd question, but you have to get to get to know a person. You have to know how they feel about those type of things. That's getting to know them, not being with them for a long time, not making them wait, quote unquote, to want to be intimate with them or whatever. Because to make a decision to want to be with someone intimately should be a spiritual thing anyway. It should be a mental and an emotional thing to an extent. I get the whole physical aspect of sometimes two people just want to have sex, want to make each other feel good for 10, 15 minutes or whatever the case may be. I get that. But I'm saying even with that, even making a decision like that, it should be based on something that's not just physical. Right. So that's what I'm saying. So getting to know someone is not time based. I mean, you can give someone the heart out of your body. Right. But it's like, and I'm guilty of this. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever learn this lesson because I can't stop giving. I can't stop being generous. I can't stop helping people. And I will always continue to help people. That's just my nature. But it's very disappointing. It's disheartening. It's depleting and it's deflating mentally, spiritually, and emotionally to constantly go through these things, right? And I have a long history, right? And we'll get into that as the podcast goes on, and like I said, it's going to be fun. I'm going to talk about much of what's in the book, but I'm going to there's a lot more things I need to talk about, or that I can talk about, and we're going to get into in terms of relationships. We're going to get into emotional infidelity. We're going to get into fidelity, why men cheat, why women cheat, do men and women cheat for different reasons. All those kinds of things we're going to deal with. And on my Dr. Manifest platform, I do believe that this podcast is now going to take the place of the memes that I'm known for on my Dr. Manifest platform. So all of my Dr. Manifest supporters on my Dr. Manifest page on Facebook, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, to this podcast, like, subscribe, and share it, because this is going to take the place of the memes. Enough of the memes. You're going to hear my voice now. Now I'm going to be speaking. Now, what the purpose of that Dr. Manifest Facebook community was to promote my relationship book, essentially. So I would post a lot of relationship based memes and relationship questions and scenarios, things like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm stepping my game up, so to speak, and I'm going to be doing all that now via my podcast. So now all you have to do is stream. Right, so make sure you all listening to the sound of my voice subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? And I really thank you all for your support. Like I said, moving forward, we're going to get into a lot of things. Now you're going to actually be hearing my voice now, not just a bunch of memes. Now, I'm not saying that the memes weren't significant or weren't important or inspirational or encouraging to you. However, I think this right here is a lot more. It touches you a lot more than hearing my voice and hearing my words, even hearing some of the passion that I have about certain things. All right. I think eventually I will move on to, because of many of you who don't know, I have my audiobook, available on, hold on, what is that? Gosh. Give me 1 second. Spotify. Yeah, my audiobook for Comprehensive Capricorn is available on Spotify. So I think once I kind of build a nice following for the podcast, eventually my podcast will be on Spotify as well. But for right now, we're just kind of building the podcast. So yeah, you guys all make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know each time I upload a new video or a new podcast episode. But real quick before I kind of end out this episode, I want to just say that there's no, from my perspective, and for all of you out there who's experienced what I'm talking about in terms of just being a cheerful and giver of love, attention, but you feel constantly let down, you feel constantly disappointed, you feel constantly depleted, deflated. The list goes on. It's like, listen, don't stop being that way. Don't stop that. And I'm stating the obvious, because people who are built that way, we can't stop, no matter what we've been through. It's just like, it's a blessing and a curse. I swear that's how it feels sometimes. It feels like a blessing and a curse. Because don't get it twisted. I have another side of me. I ain't no joke. I don't want anyone to think I'm some doormat that I let anyone step on. No, I'm talking about the constant disappointment, the constant, just being disheartened. It's like, it's emotionally and mentally draining. It really is. But I say to you all, don't stop being that way. God has a ram in the bush for you. I know sometimes it saying be patient and this and that, but whatever you do, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on yourself. Don't ever give up on love. There's someone for everyone. Okay, we just have to. Sometimes it's just a patience. Sometimes we think and we ask for things that we think we're ready for, but we're really not ready for. Right, and so just be patient. Continue to be who you are. Continue to help others. Continue to inspire in your own way, and just use each thing you go through as a learning experience. right? And that's not to say that, make everyone that you meet in the future, pay for what some jerk did to you, or being distrustful of someone who doesn't deserve your distrust. No, my grandfather told me, you trust everyone until they give you a reason not to trust them. Period, point blank. And on that note, this is Dr. Manifest signing off. Make sure you all subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload a new podcast. And I look forward to all the future podcasts moving forward with relationships. You all take care. Have a great day. This is Dr. Manifest signing off. Till next time.